Hello and welcome to Wise Revise session number 4. This session is all about how to make practice papers work for you in your revision. If you were a boxer training for a fight, how would you train for that fight? Yeah, you probably run, skip, lift weights, do push-ups, do pull-ups, all of that. You probably do some HIIT training as well. What would you definitely make sure you invested time in doing if you were preparing for a big fight? You would probably do some sparring. You do some sparring, you get some other opponents, you'd probably try and get some opponents who were just like the opponent you'd be facing in the big fight coming up, and you'd spar and you'd spar and you'd spar. You'd take hits, you'd throw punches, and you'd want to emulate that fight coming up, the big fight, as much as you could in your sparring partner fights. Now the reason for this is kind of obvious. If you're training for something, you want to try and emulate those conditions as much as possible, so by the time it comes about, by the time the big event comes, you're so used to it, your body's used to it, your brain's used to it, and you can do it as effectively as possible. This doesn't just stop at boxing. If you're a musician training for a concert, you do exactly the same thing. Practice in as best conditions as possible. If you were giving a big speech that was really important to you, you probably keep running it through a few times before you actually got up to do it for the first time for real, because you'd want to practice it in as similar conditions as possible. You might do it in front of some people as well, just to get over that unease of the anxiety that might come from doing it in front of all those people. If you were doing Duke of Edinburgh, you probably do a few practice expeditions before the really big one where you get properly tested for it. As we've seen from our previous video, practice testing is one of the most important skills and elements of revision to utilize. Practice papers, when you make them work for you, they are so effective and they help you revise in the most amazing way. I've been working in schools for about 10 years and so many students have come to me and said they hate doing practice papers, it doesn't help them revise. But actually, if you think about it logically, it's potentially the best way to revise, because the big thing on the horizon, the big exam that's coming, surely you can see the logic that the best way to prepare for that would be to do something that looks, feels, smells just like that. And the more you're going to do that, the better your brain is going to be at doing tests. Why do you think we do so many tests at school? We're aware as teachers that tests are stressful and they can build anxiety. However, study after study, time after time, doing tests has shown that really helps learning to occur. So if you want to learn anything in life, you need to test yourself, and it's far more likely that you're going to learn properly and it's going to stick in your head, and you're going to be able to use that knowledge, use that information in the future if you test yourself. Right, now this is the best way to do a practice paper. This is the best way to make practice papers work for you. You are going to need a copy of the practice paper. You may choose to use some lined paper, that's up to you. You're going to need a pencil and a pen and potentially a ruler. It will say on front of the paper what you need. And you're going to need something to time yourself that is not your phone. One of the most important things you're going to need is one of these. Now, we've got these printed in the Wise Revised booklets, but you can easily make them yourself. You might do this on paper, you might do this in a book, you might do this electronically on a PC or a phone as well. This is your practice paper recording sheet. In here you put the subject, the paper of that subject you're doing, and then you've got 3 columns here: first attempt, second attempt, third attempt, and then a column for the area to improve. What you do then is you take your paper and you have a go. You just have the best go you can. Don't worry about getting anything wrong. Don't worry about getting everything right. Just move through the paper, answering what you can to the best of your ability. Don't worry about a thing, guys. Just have a guess if you're unsure. Make your way through the whole paper. Now, it might be, if you want to keep the paper fresh, use lined paper instead and write your answers down on the lined paper. Then you can keep this for your next attempt. When you're finished, you then have to mark the paper. You can get mark schemes online or ask your teacher, and you go through the paper, marking it. Just be really honest with yourself. And the best thing I would say to do as well is, if you're unsure, give yourself not the benefit of the doubt, whatever the opposite of the benefit of the doubt is. If it's borderline, go low, not high. And just work through. After that, when you've finished, you've totaled it up, you record on your record sheet here how you did. You might want to put a percentage or whatever the paper is out of, and just note down here briefly what area you'd like to improve in for next time. Then wait a week, wait a fortnight, get the same paper again, have another go. Do it again, do the same paper again, the same process, use the mark scheme, mark down the area to improve. Or change subject up, do a different subject or do a different paper, but keep coming back to this. It might seem strange to do the same paper more than once, but this is the way we improve. This is an incredibly effective way to revise, but I understand some of you might be put off for the following reasons. You're unable to get hold of any practice papers. You're not confident in using the mark scheme. You think it's going to be boring and time consuming. You're afraid of doing badly. Firstly, the best place to get a practice paper potentially is a teacher. Otherwise, just go online, go to the exam board website, and you'll find on there's specimen papers and there's past papers as well. If you can't find any on there, trust me, go talk to your teacher. And as a teacher myself, I can tell you now, I promise you that they will love if you come and ask them for a practice paper. Right, now back to mark schemes. Now, don't worry about it if you don't feel comfortable or confident using a mark scheme. We have all felt like that at times. It's difficult. It is difficult to pick up a mark scheme and mark a paper. It's not an easy skill, but it is something that is worthwhile and that will help you grow over time. And again, have a go, mark it as best you can, and then take it to your teacher and say, look, sir, miss, here's my paper, here's the mark scheme, have I marked this correctly? And I tell you, they are going to love hearing that from you. Have a go, see how you get on. Right, now what about it being boring and difficult? Well, if you've watched Wise Revise Session 1, you'll know that effective revision, the truth about it is that effective revision often is difficult and it can be boring as well, I'm afraid. This is one of those circumstances, and also this is one of them effective revision techniques that you're not going to see the fruit of straight away. That's why we put in those 3 columns, those 3 different attempts, attempt 1, attempt 2, attempt 3. And I promise you, over time, if you stick to what I've said and told you to do, you will see those grades go up. You will see yourself improve, and it will make a huge difference when it gets to your final exam and you sit down to take that final paper. And finally, about doing badly, you need to just get over that. Now, I remember being at school, often I didn't try things, I didn't put my hand up for questions, I didn't do my best. Why? Because I was afraid that other people were going to see me get something wrong. I didn't want people to look at me and go, oh, look, he's trying, and then fail at it. No one wants that, and I completely understand that. The best thing about utilizing practice papers in your own time is there's no one else around. It's just about you, yourself, and you. It's just you. You're the only one who's going to know the outcome of those papers. Sure, you might take it to a teacher and help them to go through it with you, and again, that's going to help you grow. But you've got to look past that idea of, oh, I'm doing badly, I'm not going to do it. You have to get over that. You have to see the bigger picture. I know you want to do well in that final exam, and so you've got to keep putting that to the forefront of your mind and say, yeah, maybe I'm doing badly now, but unless I do badly now, I'm never going to get better. I just have to keep having a go, keep having a go. So that's how to make practice papers work for you. Give them a go. I promise you now, it's one of the most effective ways to revise. See how you get on. Just remember, you might not see the fruit from this straight away. You have to stick at it to see the effectiveness really work out.